I am 92 years old. I have read the Bible more times than I can count, and for most of those years I didn't understand a word of it. Not really. Not in my bones. I could quote it. I could find the passages. I could nod along in church like I knew exactly what the preacher meant. But when I closed that book and went home, I felt nothing. Sometimes I felt worse than nothing, like I was on the outside of something everyone else had figured out, pressing my face against a cold window. If that sounds familiar to you, child, stay with me, because I spent 60 years in that place. And what I finally learned, I want to give to you right now. Before we take the next step, you need to know you have never been alone in this. Share in the comments what God has meant in your life and let us know where you're listening from. We're always amazed to see how far these stories travel and how many hearts they connect across the world. I grew up in a house where the Bible sat on the table like a piece of furniture. It was just there. You didn't question it. You respected it. You read it because that's what good people did. So that's what I did. I read it. Every morning I'd open to wherever I left off. I'd read my chapters, check that box, close the book, get on with my day. And I thought that was faith. I thought discipline was the same thing as devotion. It wasn't. See, I was reading the Bible the way a man reads the fine print on a contract, looking for what I owed, looking for what I'd already broken, making sure I was doing enough to stay on the right side of things. Every chapter felt like a test I hadn't studied for. Every commandment felt like one more thing I'd already failed. I'd sit in church on Sunday morning, hymnal in my lap, and the preacher would say something about the love of God, and I'd think, yes, that's right, that's true, and I'd feel absolutely nothing. Lord have mercy, I thought something was wrong with me. I'd go home and I'd try harder, read more chapters, underline more verses, and the emptier I felt, the harder I pushed. It's like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in it. You can pour all you want. It just keeps running out the bottom. The crack came when my wife got sick. This was we'd been married 41 years. And watching her go through that, I opened that Bible one night not because I was supposed to. I opened it because I had nowhere else to go. That was different. That was the first time I came to that book with nothing to prove, and something shifted. Not all at once, but something shifted. I'm going to tell you what I finally understood, because I don't think I'm the only one who spent decades reading words without ever hearing the voice behind them. Here is what nobody told me plain. The Bible is not a rule book. It is not a history book. It is not a collection of good advice wrapped up in old language. It is one long story. One story told across hundreds of years by dozens of people. And that story is about a God who made you on purpose and has been trying to get back to you ever since. That's it. That's the whole thing. He made everything and called it good. Then we ran. We have been running ever since. And he has been coming after us the whole time. Think about that. A letter written to someone who keeps throwing it away, and he keeps slipping it back under the door. That's what this book is. That's what it has always been. When I finally read John 3:16, not as a verse I'd memorized, but as a sentence written to me, a tired old man who had spent 40 years going through the motions, something in my chest broke open. For God so loved the world, not the righteous, not the ones who had it figured out. The world, that includes me, that includes you. Then I found Romans 8, verses 38 and 39. Paul saying that nothing can separate us from the love of God. Not death, not life, not things present, not things to come. I read that, and I thought, not even 60 years of not understanding, not even all those mornings I read without listening. And the answer that came back was quiet, and it was firm. Not even that. Psalm 23 changed for me, too. I used to read the valley of the shadow of death and feel dread, but now I read it different. The valley isn't punishment. The valley is where He walks with you. He doesn't promise you won't go through it. He promises you won't go through it alone. That's the shift. I stopped reading about God and started listening for Him. And once I understood what this book was actually trying to say, once I stopped looking for rules and started looking for the one who wrote it, everything I had read before started making sense. All those years of words came back to me, but warm now, like they'd been waiting. Now, listen to me. There are 3 things that finally unlocked this book for me. 3 plain, simple things. And I want to walk you through every one of them. First thing, read it like a conversation, not a test. Before I open that book now, I ask one question. Just one. I say, what are you trying to tell me today? And then I get quiet. I don't race through chapters. I don't check a box. I sit there and I let it land. Most people come to the Bible like it's an exam, like God is sitting across the table with a red pen marking everything you missed. But that's not what's happening. He's not grading you, He's talking to you, and you can't hear somebody talk if you never stop long enough to listen. So before you open it tomorrow morning, try that. One question, then quiet. See what comes back. Second thing, start with the Gospels, not Genesis. I know everybody says start at the beginning, and I did that. Every January, full of good intentions, I'd open to Genesis 1 and think, this is the year I read the whole thing. And by the time I hit Leviticus, I was done, lost in lists and laws and names I couldn't pronounce. Here is what I wish someone had told me 60 years ago. Start with Jesus. Meet the person first. Read Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. Watch what He does. Watch who He stops for the sick ones, the ashamed ones, the ones everybody else walked past. Watch how He talks to people who have nothing left to offer. Once you know Him, the rest of the book opens up like a door you finally found the key to. The laws make sense when you know the lawgiver. The promises mean something when you met the one who made them. Third thing, let it meet you where you are. Stop waiting until you're ready. Stop waiting until you understand it better, or your life is cleaner, or you've got more faith stored up. That's not how this works. There's a woman in Luke 21. She walks up to the temple and she drops in 2 small coins. Everything she has. She doesn't understand temple economics. She doesn't have a theology degree. She just gives what she's got and she walks away. And Jesus points at her and says, she gave more than all of them. God honored what she had, not what she knew. I wasted 60 years trying to be smart enough for this book, trying to understand it before I trusted it. But it was never asking me to be smart. It was asking me to show up, worn out, confused, empty-handed, just show up. And child, I am telling you the truth right now. It is not too late for you. M, an old man who finally stopped running. I just sat down one night with that book like it was a friend, and it was. It had been, the whole time. I was just too busy performing to notice. The Bible doesn't need you to be ready. It needs you to be honest. If this reached you today, share it with someone who is tired of running. And tell me in the comments, where are you right now? What are you still carrying? I want to know. Because you are not alone in this, not even close.